Today we're doing section 1.7, day 3, and we're going to be discussing the composition of functions. So for our first example, we have f of x and g of x, and they want us to find the composition of f of g of x. Just real quick, another way you could see this notation in the book, sometimes they write it like this. So it almost kind of looks like the word fog. That implies the same idea of f of g of x. So what this means is I'm going to be plugging g into the f function. So I have going to replace g with what g is equal to. And now notice we're going to evaluate this at f. So f says 3 times my input minus 4. So I'll distribute. So I get 3x squared minus 6x minus 4. And then notice there's no like terms, so there's nothing else I can do. So this would be our answer of f of g of x. Letter B is the opposite. They want you to plug f into g, so I still have the g equation, but I'm going to replace f with what it's equal to. And now the g function says my input is squared, and then I have minus 2 times my input. So when something is squared, I would write it twice. So I have 2 3x minus 4s. Whether you FOIL or do box, this is what you're going to do for that part. And over here we can distribute, so I'll get minus 6x plus 8. So I'm going to FOIL. If you do the box, you're going to put these terms on the outside of the box. So when I FOIL, I get 9x squared minus 12x minus 12x plus 16. Then I still have these two other terms, and now I'm going to combine like terms. So nothing else is squared, so 9x will stay. This will give me negative 24 minus 6 will give me negative 30. Then I have 16 plus 8, which will add together to be 24. So this would be the answer for g of f of x. So that's when I plug in f into the g equation. So lastly, we're going to do letter C. Letter C wants us to find f of g of 1. So we're going to find g of 1 first. So g of 1 says I have 1 squared minus 2 times 1, which will be 1 minus 2. So g of 1 is equal to negative 1. Now I'm going to plug that into the f function. So now I'm evaluating f at negative 1. So I have 3 times negative 1 minus 4. Negative 3 minus 4. So f of g of 1 would be equal to negative 7. All right, so now you have a practice problem, so go ahead and try those. Make sure you input your answers onto the video. All right, so now we're going to discuss more complicated versions of the inverses. Of the composition. So we're just dealing with fractions, that's all that's different. So here I have f of 3 over x, because that's what my g function is equal to. So now I'm going to plug this in where I see x. So I have 2 over 3 over x minus 1. So we're going to get common denominators. We know that this 1 is like saying 1 over 1, and I'm going to times top and bottom by x over x to get the common denominators that we need. So now I have 2 over 3 over x minus x over x, and the whole point of getting common denominators is to put it together. So now I have 2 over 3 minus x all over x. And because I have a fraction over a fraction, we're going to do the whole keep, change, flip idea. So I'm going to keep the 2. This is technically like a 2 over 1 if you wanted to write it out. Times, so division changes to multiplication, and I'm going to flip this to be x over 3 minus x. Multiplication, you multiply straight through top and bottom. So I get 2x all over 3 minus x. So that would be our first answer of f of g of x. So now I'm going to show you how we go through the second one. So I keep g, and I'm replacing f with what it's equal to. So 2 over x minus 1. And now I'm going to plug this into the g function. So 3 all over 2 over x minus 1. So here again I will keep, change, flip. So I'm 3 times x minus 1 over 2. we're going to distribute in the numerator, and we'll get 3x minus 3 all over 2. So it's that whole quantity. That's why we distribute the 3. So that's how we do the ones with the fractions. And lastly, I'm going to show you how to do this graphically. So notice for letter A, they write it a little bit differently. So what this really means is they want you to find f of 1, and they want you to find g of 1, and they want you to add these results together. So let me label these real quick so that way it's clear. So this one is the g of x, and the other one is the f of x, which I think you can see. So using the picture, f of 1, so let me add some tick marks real quick. All right, so f of 1, the output is -1. So that would be right there. G of 1 would be right here. So that would be a +1. So when I add these together, we get 0. And sorry about the placement of the dot. It's really hard to use this tool. For letter B, we're going to find g of 2 first. So g of 2 is equal to 0. And now I have to plug that into the f function. So f of 0 is equal to -2. So the final answer for that whole thing is -2. All right, that's all for today.